Do you want to wait for the start?
No, I'm okay.
No, we can just get back.
Yeah, sure. I'll pop it back in.
Do you need me to hold it, or yeah, no? I can.
Sure, so she can pop.
Well, I'll be calling it something different.
You're live on the stream?
I'm not. Okay, great. Hi all. I'd love to open the President's Tasting of 2025. We are delighted, and I think straight off the bat when I became president this time last year, I said I wanted Echlinville as well, and I'm delighted that we have Stephen Magennis and such an amazing lineup. I won't bore too much with speeches given the very amazing, wonderful lineup we have in front of us. I just wanted to say a quick round of thanks, really. So I'd love to thank my Vice President, Martin, who actually was logging in, sorting out events from his holiday in Spain yesterday. So that's called dedication, I think. And the core committee as well, and the events committee for all of the support that they've given, all the help, all the last minute like 11 o'clock questions and everything. It's been amazing working with them and putting out the events that we do and going to events like Malt and Barley as well. So I just really want to say thank you. And then also as well, for anyone who's taken for the online as well, we have Jared Cuff as well. I just wanted to say a thank you for all of the meticulous baby bottling, shipping, making sure everything's okay, packaging as well. I didn't tell him I was doing this, so I didn't want to put him up too much on the spot. So it really helps us reach a wider range and get to our members across the country as well. And we'd love to expand on that and keep doing that throughout 2026 as well. So thank you very much. We do have kind of further news or further launch as well coming up later, but I will get to that around and we'll get to tasting the whiskey. So delighted to have you, Stephen, tonight. Cheers. And thanks very much.
Before we start, the mate who said the link that we sent out is wrong. It's the last year's.
It's the second link that's gone out.
There's no baby.
Yeah. Thank you for flagging. Just for anyone online as well, you will have received an updated email that came out last night. Yeah. Yep, which has the updated link as well. So you can, which they have if they're watching. Yeah. Well, you never know.
Hey guys, so thank you to Ali for having us. It's always great to do these tastings. Unfortunately I don't get to do that many of them anymore. I have a 2-year-old, angry wife, and the angry wife or the 2-year-old. But yeah, no, I just found like you can do so many of these tastings and you kind of get fed up with them, and then later in life you get back to it's the most enjoyable part about this industry. It's sometimes easier to do a tasting and sell containers, but yeah, hopefully you all buy a container. Yeah. It's a tough world as a ginger guy. Yeah. But yeah, guys. So the whiskey we're going to open up with is 3 Crown Sherry Cask, and for me, this is hands down, bang for buck. This is the best whiskey that we make, and it probably puts as much effort into the whiskey, into this one whiskey, as we do with any other whiskey. And what we do with it is, when the whiskey was originally, and again it goes back to like learning on the spot and learning about, there's no rule book when you open a distillery. No one's there to tell you you're doing this wrong or you're doing it right. It's trial and error, and you learn quite quick by taste rather than someone telling you that you're wrong, should we say. And originally when this whiskey was made, the guys in the distillery were using 5-year-old malt, 5-year-old grain, and then they were adding 15 or 16, 17-year-old sherry cask component into it. And the whole thing around Dunville's is that sherry casks, and you will try this later. I don't think in Ireland there's anyone, and biased, but I think I'm quite humble when I say this as well. I don't think there's anyone in Ireland does sherry better than we do it, and that's even Redbreast included. Yeah, I think across the board with PX, Oloroso and Palo Cortado, even Muscatel, we're kind of have cracked it somewhat, but we're always learning. And I think the big first lesson that we learned was this one whiskey. And we realized just because you put one good component into a bad whiskey doesn't make it better. The good component just gets worse. So what the guys had started putting 50-50 malt and grain, 7 years old, blending it as a blend, and then vatting it into Oloroso sherry cask for a further 2 years. So the full blend has been finished for 2 years, not just the single malt element of it or the grain element, the whole lot. And for me, it just becomes a more kind of rounder, fruitier, nearly like a lovely gateway into what you're about to taste. So yeah, cheers.
Sorry, Stephen, what strength is this?
43.5.
There's practically no legs on it. It flies down the glass. Now maybe these are very clean glass. I don't know. I don't flavors for it.
You're not expecting us to give you a dirty glass, are you? Yeah. Yeah, that's nice. What do you think, guys? You like it? For me, this is like the perfect whiskey to drink at home. Like it's not overly complicated, but it's very, very nice. And that's where, for me, it's, if we are no matter where we go in the world, we always open a tasting with this whiskey, because and point to this, and you will find out throughout everything else of our whiskies, the backbone of everything what we do is within this whiskey, and it's how this whiskey is made up. And as much as we can talk about sherry cask maturation and what we do with sherry cask, we put as much emphasis on the bourbon element of it. So like any whiskey that we ever buy, if it's 10 years old or if it's at new make, it goes straight into first fill bourbon cask for a minimum of 4 years. So like if we buy, which we're going to try a 23-year-old later, when we purchased that whiskey at 10 years old, it went straight into first fill bourbon cask again for a further 6 years, and then into PX. And that fruit element of what you're getting, all that fresh fruit, is what we love. That's what we want. We want that lively fruit to come through before the sherry coats it. And we just don't want this astringent sherry bomb. So none of our whiskies will ever be sherry bombs. They'll never be in your face, tannin, chewing, smacking. It's not what we do. And I think we make whiskey the way we like drinking it, not what we believe the consumer wants. Because if the consumer doesn't drink it, then we have a lot of whiskey. We can tell too many people it's brilliant. Yeah. But yeah, I think sometimes when you get lost when you're making it for what you believe the consumer wants, rather than what you believe is good, that's when you completely lose. I always, with sherry cask, and I know Luke will die when I say this, but I've been fortunate enough, and I know Wal has, I think Al has, but I was in Glendronach with Luke, and hands down I think Glendronach make the best whiskies in the world, but for every one great one there's 20 shit ones, and there's 20 that is so over sherried, where it's just so astringent and they're so bitter and they're nearly borderline undrinkable. But people are petrified to say that this isn't a nice whiskey. And I don't really care. I don't work for Glendronach. Brian Foreman can do whatever the hell they want for me. But like, they can take Dunvilles to court. Hopefully we sell more out of the PR. But yeah, but like, for me, it's not, that's not what I think sherry cask whiskey should be. And I get Scotland is different. You have to fully mature in sherry to be a single cask. But like, it doesn't mean you have to put them to market either.
How do you feel when people describe Dunvilles as the Glendronach of Ireland?
Oh, here, listen, we love it. Like I don't think we're Glendronach. I think we're more Glengoyne, Glenlivet, or Glengoyne, Glenfarclas. I think we're more that style of sherry. I think we're more lighter in style. Like I love Glengoyne whiskies. I think they're brilliant. Glendronach, I don't think we are. Like I think if you drink the 15-year-old Glendronach, the old school one, like it's hands down top 10 whiskies ever made. But they don't all taste like that. Yeah, Hal has about 30 of them. I remember about the old 15 Glendronach. I can remember when it was being discontinued. And like every payday, I was buying like 6 bottles. What's this man at? Why this?
My last one this year, I lasted the 18-year-old this year.
Yeah.
I've only got 9. I've only got 9 single cask strengths at home from the York where they're all.
I've only got 6.
So sorry. I'm not here like they were at the time. Possibly the best sherry. Now I don't know. I suspect not. I strongly suspect not. So we had enough time.
Yeah.
Do you remember the
71?
71 they brought it?
Yeah. Oh. I think.
Anyway, done with this.
Yeah. So what do you think? Is that good? Do we want to move on to the next one?
Great. So the next one to talk about is the eagerly awaited next Irish Whiskey Society bottling. So, and it's coming soon. So, myself and Peter were chatting early last year, and we wanted a way to recognise the 10-year anniversary of the Dingle chapter and all the fabulous tasting and works that goes on there. And what better way than with liquid and a bottling as well. So this is due to, you will be getting the emails tomorrow, and it will be launching for sale on Monday as well. So it'll be out in time for Christmas for the stocking filler. And I just wanted to thank Stephen for all the patience and the back and forth while we've done for the bottling. But rather than me talking about it, I wanted to welcome Peter White and Finn McDonald of the Dingle, who did the work on the liquid that went into it.
Thanks. Okay, folks, I just want to say a couple of things first. It's great to be back in Dublin again. I actually didn't realise. I love Dingle, but I didn't realise how much I miss Dublin. It rains a lot less here. And I'll be up here for a lot more tastings next year. And it's also humbling. You know, I remember doing President's Tastings back in 2015 and 2016, and I know how Ali feels. And I remember being one of the founder members in 2009 of the Society, along with Leo and Gary and so many others. And to see so many people here tonight and still going 16 years later is fantastic. And you know, I came upon the idea of getting the whiskey, the chapter going down in Dingle. And it came out of pure selfishness, to be quite honest with you. Because I was going around the bars in Dingle, and all they ever had in those bars were Paddy Powers, Bushmills and Jameson. You couldn't get a decent whiskey. And then one day I walked into Finn's bar, he's my best mate down there, and he had half a bottle of Freud, and I was after doing a hill walk with the club on a Sunday afternoon around this time, and it had been raining sideways and I was freezing cold and wet, and I drank the half a bottle and wanted to know where the next bottle was, and he kind of said, well, we don't have any more, and we had a big argument then in the bar, and he kicked me out. And but I
had a bottle of Jeremy 15, you wouldn't be deep enough for that.
Well, actually, Fernand O'Connor and Willie Murphy drank that at €8 a shot. They drank the whole bottle at €8 a shot because Finn actually didn't know what he had. But moving on, I at that point I knew that Dick Max was going to be a great place for a whiskey bar, and we decided to have a tasting in 2013, and most of the committee from Dublin, Ove was there as well. Most of the committee from Dublin came down and the place was jammed. Everybody had to get up every time somebody wanted to go to the toilet. It was just, everybody was jammed into the room. And then we did another one in 2014 and 2015. And then in 2016 we decided we got talking to the committee in Dublin, and we decided to her off the ground, and we did that, and we got it going, and it was going great for a couple of years. And then we had a really lean time where I remember I was working here. I did shift work before I retired, and I couldn't get down to some of the tastings, and a lot of them were going off to a stag party. And we had John Quinn down from Tullamore due, and 6 people turned up for the tasting. And I thought about throwing in the towel then, because I thought, Jesus, like, you've John Quinn down from Tullamore, and you got 6 people at the tasting. And Finn and I talked about it, and I said, look, this isn't working. But he said, no, we'll keep going with it. So we did, we kept going with it, and we've got 50 members, more or less now. We've got a really good chapter down there. Some of you have been down there as well at the tastings. But next year's the 10th anniversary, and I spoke to Ali, as she said, and we want to honour it in some way, but we didn't want just to bring out a whiskey, we wanted to have a dingle twist. So Dick Max a few years ago built his own brew house, makes its own beer, and I've been talking to Shane Fitzharris, who used to, some of you might remember, he used to work for Bernard Walsh in Walsh Whiskey, a brilliant brand ambassador, and he works for Templeton Rye now in the United States. But before the brew house was even finished, Shane and I had said, right, let's do some beer finished whiskies. And Bernard Walsh came on board. We went to him and straight away he said, yeah, no problem. And we started off and we did a few with him. But then we were very good friends with Jarlath Watson and with Stephen and Shane Braniff, who's an absolute gentleman and who doesn't drink alcohol, by the way. But we had a chat with him, and they sent down 2 casks to us, and the brew house made a special honey and hemp IPA just for those 2 casks. And I'm going to refer to me glass, just get me glass now, refer to me phone, because I can't remember all of the dates. But essentially what happened was they sent us down 2 casks and we filled them with honey and hemp IPA. And the honey and hemp spent about 10 months in those casks. And the whiskey they sent down was a high malt content of single malt and grain whiskey. And it's their own spirit. Stephen can correct me if I come out with anything incorrect, but they sent down the 2 casks, we filled them, the beer was in the cask for about 10 months. And this was during COVID and we sent it back up. But because COVID had taken place, we were there and the whiskey, we were getting samples sent down intermittently. So the first one was actually bought last year, and it was the very first 1808 cast and bond series for the Echlinville Distillery series. And at that stage, that whiskey had spent 4 years in a beer cask. Now we had done previously, we'd had, whiskey in 4 years in a beer cask in Powers Court, and that came out as Dick Max bottling. But this whiskey, as far as I know, I don't know any other whiskey that's spent that long in a beer cask. Most people take them out less than a year. This was 4 years in the cask, and it came out as an 1808. It won 3 awards 2 years ago in London, and also in the Irish Whiskey Awards here. And we still had the second cask, and we were going to bring that out as a second 1808. We were talking to Stephen about it, and then Stephen, God bless him, got mixed about the labels and what could go on a label and what couldn't go on a label, and and he'd been out all night with Finn one night, and Finn was paying for everything, and it was just, they were out till 5 in the morning. That's what it was pure bribery. But in the end anyway, I got on to Ali and I said, right, why don't we bring out a whiskey that has a touch of dingle in it, but from a distillery that we absolutely love, with people that we absolutely love. And we decided to bring this out. So what happened with this, I'm going to call the cask number 1 and 2. Cask number 1 was brought out last year as an 1808. Cask number 2 then was a slightly different cask. The 2 casks that we had, and Luke will love this because I'm giving loads of information. One cask was a first fill American oak, and the second one was a second fill bourbon cask. So there were 2 different casks, but the same beer went into each. And then when the beer was taken out, the same whiskey went into each. But when we tasted them at various stages along the process, they were completely and utterly different. And the first one came out last year, that was an absolutely a thrill whiskey. And then what we decided to do was we talked to Jarlath and Stephen, and what we did was we took the whiskey from cask number 2 and we put that into cask number 1. And that's what this whiskey is tonight. And that's 5 years in a beer cask. So the whiskey you're tasting is actually 10 years old. It's Echlinville Spirit. It's a blended whiskey. It's a 46%. And we're actually very proud of it. And when we tasted this, we thought this was actually better than the 1808 that came out about 18 months ago. So that's what we thought. That was our opinion. And we've tasted it at different stages. Since people love that 1808, we have no more of it in the bar. There's no more of it, it's all gone. And we've had people asking us for it. But we really hope you enjoy it. And it's an Irish Whiskey Society bottling now, and it's got to commemorate the 10 years of Dingle, the Dingle chapter next year, which is April 2026. But this is coming out now before Christmas. I just want to say thanks to Stephen, Jarlath, Shane, Graham Miller, who laid down the whiskey as well. We were talking to him in the early years. To Ali, the committee in Dublin. And also to recognise what we have in Dingle, Finn, Barry Rogers, Debbie Lewang. We've got terrific people. I want to acknowledge Jack as well. Jack has always been brilliant to me. Took me under his wing, and he's brilliant. I remember Stephen working in the Celtic whiskey shop, and I bought bottles of whiskey from Stephen. I used to love going in and chatting to him. And I remember buying a bottle of whiskey with him about a year ago, and he'll remember it. I still have about half a bottle because I'm saving it for when he comes down again. But it was actually a Connemara that was done in a Amontillado sherry cask, and it was a single cask. It's a fantastic whiskey. It's great to see, as he was talking about the pricing earlier and the way things were in the Celtic whiskey shop 12, 15 years ago. This chapter started, this whole Irish Whiskey Society started because of Michael Fogarty in the Celtic whiskey shop. It was his idea, a Scotsman. And that was his idea. And then a group of us got together in Bo's pub upstairs, and the whole thing kicked off from there. So that's how it started. And I see Luke Goff here. I've learned more from Luke and Willie Murphy and Fernand O'Connor, Liam Smith, Rachel, John, Declan Rice, people who have been here for years and years. And it's great to see new faces as well. But I just wanted to say thanks very much for letting us speak tonight. And if you're down in Dingle, look at the website. Our tastings are on the website. Book a tasting, and you're more than welcome to come along. Or if we can take you for a tour of the distillery or come into Dick Max, if we can do anything at all for you, let us know.
I can tell you, I had some crack working out the detailings of the label.
One reminder, Mike Fogarty's initial remark was that he didn't want 30 people turning up with each holding a bottle of Red Rock 12. I think he succeeded in that one. So yeah, for sure. Sorry,
oh no, you're grand. I was just joking that we had some crack working out the beautiful mind of the Cask 1 versus Cask 2 versus months and stuff like that. But thanks so much, and it's great to see as well. So that is coming out. It's going to be €70 including delivery. It'll be launching on Monday, and it should, as I said, be out to you before Christmas as well. So thanks so much, the guys.
I think when Peter tells the story about the first 1808, he tells it with his rose-tinted lenses. I can remember taking a call from him, and he was like, "This is what I want on the label. This is what I want on the label. This is how it should look. This is what it look. This is what Bernard did for us." I was like, "Does Bernard work here?" And when we were doing the first ever 1808, the whole plan for us was about how the market was kind of changing, and people weren't no longer looking to invest in 25-year-old single casks. But we also needed to get people in bars drinking Dunvilles that was affordable, that was under a tenner a glass. They weren't all 40 quid a glass. And we wanted to create this 1808 series, and there was no better, I don't think there's any better champion than, we have some bars around here, but like Dick Max has championed whiskey when people weren't championing it, but all whiskey, just not Irish whiskey, but also small brands. They weren't just championing Middleton. Like if you go into 95% of bars in Dublin, they have 39 different variations of an IDL product. You're not educating anyone other than cleaning the dust off them every 4 weeks, because there's only one of them sells. And for us, if you don't have the variety of bottles, and if you don't have the champions behind it to sell them, then none of us will have an industry to work in. So kudos to the likes of Finn for getting behind it.
People buy into the tale behind anything, any brand, anywhere in the world, and you have a tale to tell, and a new one, new one, we can follow it from the ground up, and people like to get involved at the beginning and go, I remember them when they were new, a lot of people in here relate to that. Complementary relationship, I call it, really.
Yeah, and the first 1808 that we done was only a couple of years ago. We now probably have 20 of them. We have one for the Dead Rabbit in New York. We have one really good whiskey bar, the Snug in Irvington. We have one going to where the Dumb and Dumber and the Shining was in Colorado. We have one going to Temple Bar Whiskey Reserve. We have a couple for Celtic Whiskey Shop. We have the Garrick, Madden's. We have all the best whiskey bars in Ireland. It's at the stage now where I mean, need to stop doing them in Ireland. We've kind of ticked all the boxes and start doing them internationally. But that's when you get back to when you create a label, you can't do it for one specific reason. You have to do it for a generation of releases, and that's where Peter didn't get the design job in our place. But I think Bernard gave him a job in the end. Yeah. Okay, guys. So will we move on to the next one? So,
What do people think of that one, guys?
yeah, what do you think of it?
Super accessible.
What's the ABV on?
46. And it's this is the other side. I think Peter did say this at the start, but the original casks held Echlinville Malt, so they weren't just normal bourbon casks. There were some of the first. The first fill bourbon was essentially a virgin oak. So, of that very first batch of whiskey that we were distilling in 2013 in the R&D stills, we put them all into virgin oak, and we then took them out of virgin oak and put them into a first fill bourbon casks. So one of the barrels was 100% Echlinville malt in first fill bourbon, which then becomes second fill, and then the first fill was actually a virgin oak cask with Echlinville in it. So I think that's why one matured so much quicker than the other. But yeah, to think of a 5-year beer finish, like, yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. Sometimes you forget these things. You forget where the casks are, what you've done, and yeah, but they come alive. But yeah, guys, so the next whiskey we're going to go on to is a PX 10-year-old. And this was the first whiskey in the Dunville's range. So when Shane revived the brand, and Shane and Jarlath, and they went out to cask brokers and they go, what type of cask do you have? And Shane, as Peter was saying, he doesn't drink, but he's as cute as it comes in terms of what do we do next, and he's a mad genius in the background. Sometimes you'd be thinking to yourself, geez, what's he going to say next? And then he comes out with something just brilliant, where it's like, well, why you start using Palo Cortado cask because everyone's using PX, and you'll try a 21-year-old Palo Cortado that's 7 years in Palo Cortado. I don't think, apart from a couple of wine shops in Dublin, knew what Palo Cortado was in Ireland 7-8 years ago. But going back to 2008, 2009, Shane was like, let's do something different. I mean, if Redbreast is Oloroso and it's the big brand that we all want to be, and we want to chase that premium SKU, let's think of a different sherry. And the guys had the opportunity to buy PX sherry casks, and at the time I think it was the first PX, and I know definitely in Ireland, but I also think in Scotland as well. I know Lefroy had a PX, and then Devil's one of the Bowmores, the Devil's cask, the very first one was a PX. But like this is when I worked for Beam Suntory, so like it was way after, 5-6 years later than when this one came out. So to think of PX casks, we love them in the distillery, and they're the best cask that we use because they're so distinctive. Like the flavors you get, like you get the prunes, you get the figs, you get all of that kind of fruit that is self-explanatory. It's not difficult to get anything off the nose. It's not difficult to get anything off the palate. It's stewed fruits and whiskey. Like you can't really go wrong until you leave it too long in a cask. And with Palo Cortado keeps giving. And the very first batch of Palo Cortado casks that we laid down, we're going to release a 25-year-old for James Fox's at Christmas time. And it's 10 years in Palo Cortado sherry casks. Palo Cortado does not dip. It just keeps on going and going and going and going. Where PX sherry cask hits a high, and within 6 months, it's on the floor.
Sorry, Steve, very quickly, is this American oak or is it European oak? Yeah.
Good question. I'm going to assume it's American oak. I think PXs were American.
I know that there are Carrick straw or European casks.
Yeah.
PX,
But they're very rare though. Yeah, it's really, really rare. Yeah. What do you think? Good. Yeah. The big thing as well, we use sherry hogsheads, and most of them are reconditioned sherry butts. And again, someone asked, well, why do you do it that way? Well, in the last 5-6 years, probably to 10 years, sherry consumption is becoming quite trendy again. But the other side is that it was used for cooking so much prior to that, and sherry vinegar was the byproduct of what we're getting, and we don't want those types of casks. So when we're buying recoopered or reconstructed barrels, we're getting original Solero barrels. Now, we pay twice as much for the barrel as we would for a butt. So I remember Seamus, our brand ambassador, was talking about sherry cask, and he goes, the importance of sherry cask, and people forget the importance of the price. So every one bottle of whiskey, the cask is £4 just for the sherry cask, and the bourbon cask is about £1. So a fiver of our cost is in sherry. Now, if you use them twice, it's £2, but we only use them once. We only use sherry once.
What do you do with the casks?
Sell them to Redbreast. No, we sell them to our competitors. Like if we can't get rid of them quick enough where they dry out, we just put Echlinville spirit into them. Again, they are an expensive asset, but yeah, we try and offload them. Yeah, Dunville's is always first fill. There's no second fill whatsoever. Like even for bourbon.
For another, like a third brand then, just use your sherry barrel again, third brand that has extended second fill.
So we like, yeah. So you've touched a nerve here in a way. So when Shane first started in the whiskey business, he had a brand called Feckin, right? We were selling 3 times more Feckin 20 years ago than we're selling Dunvilles now, right? He didn't have a distillery, he didn't have a bottling plant, he didn't have 40 staff, he had nothing. He was buying whiskey from A, selling it to B, they were bottling it and selling it under Feckin, making a bomb, making a mint. It was easy. And then we had the chance to buy Old Cumber and Dunvilles, and Old Cumber and Dunvilles are very distinctive because Old Cumber will always be, when we can use Echlinville spirit, and we use Echlinville spirit in our blends. It's not 100% Echlinville spirit in our blends in terms of the malt and the pot still element, but we try and incorporate Echlinville spirit into it because it gives us, for me, it gives us something a little bit different. That, okay, we're happy enough to put our own spirit into our blends, but on the other side, we've always farm distillation. Then it's going to be 100%. Old Cumber will always be our single pot still brand, and Echlinville will be our single malt brand. We then have another brand called Matt Darcy that we purchased the brand because, well, we purchased the stock and got the brand. We needed the stock for Dunvilles, and within that we're buying 200 casks of 20-year-old plus whiskey. Not many people have 200 casks plus a 20-year-old whiskey, but we do. And that keeps our 20, 21-year-old, 23-year-old, 25-year-olds alive for the next 20 years. Like we probably have anywhere between 350 and 400 casks of whiskey at 20 years plus. And that keeps that super ultra premium for us going, because that's, sometimes we find it easier to sell a bottle at £100. Like PX10 is our biggest selling SKU. It shouldn't be when we have 4 blends before it. But it's just that it was our first SKU and it's generational sales of people that were buying it 15 years ago. So to say, is there room for another SKU? Not really, because our marketing teams don't get bigger, our sales teams don't get bigger because we have another SKU. It just means the workload gets heavier. But we have less people to sell it to. We're not in a luxury position where we're not a Pernod, we're not a Diageo, where Gintonics says, okay, well, we have our super duper tier 1 distributor, but we'll also have our tier 2 for our tier 2 brands, or tier 3. We don't have the marketing budgets or the sales teams to be selling to 3 different people in one market. And that's, I wish I could say it was different and we could reuse the casks, but yeah, like if we can't sell them to our competitors, then we just put Echlinville spirit into them. Yeah. What do you think? I think
Like a whisper.
I think after this year, after the awards that this have won around the world, I think this is now the most awarded single malt Irish whiskey.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can.
Yeah, perfect. Great. So with that, we're going to break for, I was going to say about 13 minutes. Yeah, 17 minutes. So we'll come back at 20 to 9. 24. Thank you so much and welcome back. And just a small bit of housekeeping for myself. So we have the AGM on the 11th. It's now sold out, but we'll be adding a couple more seats as well, and we're going to record as well for those that can't attend, as I know it's in the busy Christmas season. Another thing as well is, as much as we love to back big, we also love to back small. So Matt's, and I have to call it Matt's because of after all the work that went into it, Christmas stocking stuffer as well with the 8 minis as well. There's just only about 15 packs left, and there's stuff. There is wonderful drops such as the Boan Solstice, and we also have some new Cask draws from Loch Mass and also from Garden County as well. So just to let you know, they are selling very quickly. There's only about 15 left. So if you want to, I suppose, I wanted to say stuff your stocking, but that sounds absolutely awful. But without further ado, I know we want to get into the second round of the lineup as well, and I'm going to pass it over to Stephen again to take us through the second row.
Yeah, guys, thanks. So the next 3 we're going to try is a 20-year-old, a 21-year-old, and a 23-year-old.
Old enough to drink itself.
Yeah. I always remember when Al set up Celtic Whisky Club, and it's amazing how the world has changed, or the landscape of Irish whisky has changed. When Celtic Whisky Club was set up, we had a really angry Irish Whisky Society member from Hungary come in. And he was complaining about how the Irish Whisky Society is the only whisky club in town, and there can't be another one. And if you think now there must be 100 whisky societies or clubs in Ireland, and just how fast, but how many people want to drink whisky and want to be educated on whisky or want to share whisky, which is incredible. But I always remember when I done my first tasting in Celtic Whisky Club, Ali said, I'll let you into a bit of a tip. He says, have great whisky. Like, have the best whisky you can ever present, because your presentation's shit. They'll still be happy. Yeah. Thankfully, I've just made sure the whiskies are really good for the next.
Bless you for that.
Yeah. So the first one we're going to try is a 20-year-old Oloroso, and
You bought these casks from Red Rest, did you?
yeah. Yeah, we got them up, smuggled them up from Cork, put our plants in them. So for us, if you can remember what I said when the very first whiskey, everything is about, we put as much emphasis into the bourbon maturation as we do into the sherry. And when the guys purchased this whiskey 13 years ago, it was as a 10-year-old. And it was a mixture between first fill, second fill, and third fill. And then the whole vatting together then went into first fill for a further 5 years. And then from 15 years, 5 years in first fill casks, they then put it into Oloroso sherry casks, first fill Oloroso hogsheads for 5 years. And this whiskey, we release roughly 3,000 bottles a year, every year. And it's probably one that, out of the next 3 whiskies, we sell the allocation every year, so we sell 3,000 bottles of each of them every year. And it's one that they're probably the quickest to go at the start of the year. It's always nice to have them in January. I mean, a bleak month where you can sell a bit of nice whiskey, but yeah. But the good thing is that we try and keep as much, like we try and keep a third of them in Ireland. So we have 1,000 bottles of each that we keep in Ireland every year. So we can all enjoy them, or of course buy them as well. But yeah, so this one, guys, is a 20-year-old Oloroso sherry cask finish. And again, 46%. So the next 3 are all at 46%.
And do you find that Oloroso has that same drop off? Like, how long would you leave it? Because you said you left it for 5 years, so how long would you leave it for?
So we still have some in cask now. We're like with obviously these types of casks. Like when I was saying earlier, we probably have like 350 of these types of barrels. There's maybe only 50 of them in sherry, and then the rest are anywhere from like 20 to 25-year-old, are in a mixture of AB1s, AB2s, to AB2s. We want to prolong them until their 30s, and then put them into sherry and to hopefully get a 35-year-old, 40-year-old. Where the likes of this one, it was all first fill sherry, but we released some at like 18 years old. We released a couple of single casks at 19-year-old, and we still have some now, which is kind of 23, 24, but we don't actually have that many of these casks left at the older age. We're refilling a lot more at the moment of 18-year-old malt into Oloroso for the next couple of batches. So actually what's in the bottle is probably 22, 23 now. Yeah, and people, you always get asked the question, why do you put a 22, 23 into a 20-year-old? And it comes back to creating a new SKU. when you set a product up on the market, you can't just tell them tomorrow that, oh, we've changed it to 23 and there's a 30% price increase. As much as Shane wants it to be that way, you just can't. You have to, like, there's a reason why there's Glenlivet 15, 18, 21, 25. You have to stick with the age statements, and that's where, for us, we'll always have 20-year-old and 21-year-old as core releases and 23-year-old PX as a core release, and they'll always be that age. It's impossible to have 5 different Olorosos on the shelf, all different ages. It just doesn't make sense. Yeah, but you also kind of lose. You want people to fall in love with 20-year-old, or you want people to fall in love with 21-year-old. And when they go back to the bar and says, I had this in Ireland, and they go back to New York and they buy it in New York, and then they come back to Ireland and say, I had this 5 years ago, but I also tried it in the Dead Rabbit in New York. Like, you want that. That's yeah. Yeah.
What's the retail price on this one?
It's around 225 euro. Yeah. Yeah.
With a special discount code for the guy.
Yeah. We actually do have a Black Friday sale on at the moment. Yeah, in the distillery. So you probably get it for about £170 or something.
I think it's BM Bravo Foxtrot 2025. So yeah.
Is it 25% off?
No, 2025 is
Oh,
the
jeez.
code, yeah. Sorry, you're just like...
We're giving it away.
I could just see everyone taking out their phone there.
And anyone that can't get it on Black Friday, as I told you earlier, I'm open to bribes. What do you think? When we released the 20-year-old and the 21-year-old together, and I can remember that I fell so much in love with the 20-year-old, and I was like, the 21-year-old, I'm not sure. I'm just not there yet. I'm kind of not getting it. And then like a year after, it was like, the 20-year-old, I'm not getting it. The 21-year-old, I think, is amazing. And you will see with Palo Cortado how different it is. And Palo Cortado is so difficult as a whiskey or as a finishing cask because it's not obvious. And like, it's great to have these whiskies in front of you guys because you all drink whiskey, you understand whiskey, you get whiskey. Where like the kind of average palate sometimes can't understand what Palo Cortado does to a whiskey or how it changes. Where Oloroso still has that nutty spiciness and it still has that kind of oxidized flavor to it that people kind of seem to like and seem to enjoy. But yeah, to go from PX10, which is really, really distinctive, to this is perfect. And yeah, I actually don't get really to drink them that often anymore. I should do more tastings.
We'll have you back.
I go to Seamus to get sample bottles. I'm like, man, what have you got in your car? Yeah. What do you think? Any questions? Yeah. It's only going to get better.
There's a 22 he's immediately on the store, like.
Yeah.
What is the discount?
It's a 22-year-old.
In Celtic Whisky Shop?
From the site.
On our side? There can't be. Oh no, this is not a thing though. No, you can't buy it though. This is an exclusive to Celtic Whisky Shop.
Okay.
Well, these.
22. You said you didn't do the age statement.
No, this is a single cask though.
Okay.
Okay. So it's a single cask. It's not a core release. Sorry guys, I should have cleared that up. Even though we have a 20-year-old Oloroso, 21-year-old Palo Cortado, and 23 PX, you can buy single casks that are older, so anywhere from 18 to 25-year-old. So there is different ages with single casks.
The one that won Irish Whiskey of the Year, how many bottles of that have you got left?
Enough. Enough that I'm questioning the award. No, I'm only joking. Yeah, we released 3,000 bottles. So, like, most of it's in distribution, and then we keep some for the shop. So we keep 300 a year for the shop, and then all the rest go into distribution. So it's kind of quite scattered. There's 1,500 of them in the US, which is kind of slowly filtering out, which is crazy. So you can see it in one place for 600 quid, and another place for 350 quid. But yeah, like they're in kind of all the shops in Dublin and further afield. And I think you guys have a 21-year-old, don't you?
We will if we don't have it.
We don't have it, Michelle. We will have it.
That's what I like to hear.
Stephen, as a matter of interest, because it's not a shame before when you was down earlier this year. I want to get you down next year for the 10th anniversary of the tasting, but the stitching weave, where does that stand in your opinion against all of this? Seamus says it's the best Dunville he's made. And I think
He's biased though. So Seamus is from Derry. Stitch and Weave is in Derry. He's the account manager of the venue, right? He was the one who sold it to the venue. No, like for me, I think someone like, and I mean this, the best whiskies we've ever produced, like, and I mean ever, is our 12-year-old to 13-year-old PX sherry casks. Like the younger ones, like some of the first ones are just sensational. How they punch way above their weight in terms of whiskey and like what they give, and like there's two sweet spots for, like, I was fortunate enough to work for Cooley for many years. And Cooley whiskey really changes when it's 12, 13 years old. And when it gets to 16, 17, 18 years old, like at 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8, it's really green. And it becomes, from 4 to 8, it becomes the sweeter green fruits, like sweeter Granny Smith apple, if that makes sense. And it just becomes more intensified into like a Gala apple, if that makes sense. Definitely that should make sense. But as it gets to 12, 13, 14, then 15, 16, 17, 18, it's near like the starburst effect of the sweets, where like it becomes more tropical and the sugars become more kind of residual sugar. And I think with the really intensified sherry casks that we use, or intense sherry casks that we use, 12, 13, 14, like have you ever had Kerry Killarney's 14-year-old as well? Like it was incredible. But like we have some really good ones in Celtic Whisky Shop at the moment, a PX 13 and a PC 13 as well, and they're just incredible. So that younger age, yeah, like they are really good. Seamus will, yeah, Seamus is Seamus there. If he was here, he was meant to be here, but if he was here, oh, I'm telling you,
but in fairness,
3 hours telling you how great it is, how he picked it.
In the taste, and that was actually called the best whiskey of the ones that he presented. It's a cracking whiskey.
Yeah, and it won the award this year for, I think,
Malt 14 under, yeah.
aye. So like it is a great whiskey. I find, personally for me, I find myself I don't know if it's the older I get or just, I'm not into punchy 57, 58% booze anymore. I just can't drink them. I'm not, like, not that I can't drink them. Yeah. I'm just not enjoying them as much as, like, yeah, we were chatting about, myself and Luke were chatting, and 5, 6 years ago we went through this phase in Ireland where everything had to be cask strength and everyone was talking about cask strength, and it shows a real lack of it shows a lot of naivety within the industry, within the people that own the distilleries, that they're listening to 3 or 4 people shouting about cask strength and not about how the whiskey should taste. And I always remember being in with Billy Layton had launched Redbreast Lestow, and it was 46%. And someone goes up and says, it'd be better at cask strength. And Billy just looks at him straight in the face and says, do you not think we tried that? It's like, but it's like...
Yeah, but at the same time, Billy is launching cask strength, single cask everywhere, you know?
Is it Billy though? I mean, or is it their commercial team that's, yeah. Whereas like, I just don't think where it's, like if he's saying it, like, yeah, I just don't get how everything has to be cask strength. Like, I think if it deserves to be cask strength, it should be.
It's a cask strength audience, I would say, in general.
But, and that's great. That's fair enough. For me, I'm not there. We have a cask strength at the end. Yeah. 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 Okay. Do we want to move on to the next one? Yeah. Oh, so we only use Cooley. Or sorry, that distillery in County Louth, beside the Cooley Mountains. Yeah.
I don't think anyone heard the liquor fine.
Yeah. Yeah, good. Yeah. Okay, guys. So the next whiskey we're going to try is our 21-year-old Palo Cortado. And 3 of the last 4 in the Irish Whiskey Awards, we have won Best Irish Whiskey. And they've all been for Palo Cortado sherry casks. So we had a Palo Cortado single cask sherry cask 4 years ago, 1197 as a 21-year-old. It won Best Overall Whiskey. And then the last 2 years, this whiskey has won Best Overall Whiskey. So 21-year-old Palo Cortado. And this one is a minimum of 22 years old, and it's a minimum of 7 years in Palo Cortado sherry casks. So 15 years in bourbon, 5 years in, if you can remember, revatted into first fill bourbon, and then 7 years into Palo Cortado. So first fill Palo Cortado sherry casks. And does anyone drink sherry? Yeah. Okay, everyone. So like, for me, I think like Palo Cortado is that quintessential kind of connoisseur sherry, and it's that lovely kind of malic acid taste, or that natural yogurt taste, or fermented yogurt, whatever way you want to describe it. And it has that lovely kind of yogurty taste. And I think with this is that how all that milk chocolate, and then it becomes quite leathery, and it's all over the place. Where there's so many, I think when you try this whiskey 3 or 4 different times, you kind of get 3 or 4 new flavor notes in it. And this is why I think, like, when you try it in a room like this, most people will understand it and will get it. And they'll get all the sweetness from what the original 15 years is. But then what the original 15 years in bourbon, and then first is what the next 7 years is. Yeah.
There's a wonderful bite in the back of the palate.
Yeah.
Juicy.
Yeah.
So there wouldn't be much Palo Cortado at that age on the market at all.
I don't know, like, there's probably one,
Yeah.
but yeah. So we have it, like as I was saying, we have a 25-year-old for James Fox is coming as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, guys? Yeah. So this one's like 200 quid. But remember your Black Friday discount. Yeah. 25, jeez. Yeah. The big thing with these whiskies as well is that we have so many arguments in the distillery about pricing and about what price these whiskies should be. And like when yellow spots and green spots and red spots are being released for 600 quid, I'm just like, how can the honest man buy a whiskey at 600 quid and drink it? Like it's just not viable. Like we all have that one. Like we all have that one whiskey that you buy, that special bottle of whiskey in the year, and you hope to have it in those 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 occasions throughout the year. And generally, when you buy a bottle of whiskey like this, you break it out on those special occasions, and you're sharing it with the people that are close to you, and you're talking about how great this whiskey is because it's your one bottle of whiskey that you buy at that price per year. And I think when you get to those silly prices, you're kind of excluding everyone, like everyone from that drinking and enjoying and sharing these whiskies. And when Shane, and rightly so, it's Shane's distillery, it's Shane's investment, it's all his money in it, it's easy for me to spend it, it's easy for me to discount. But for me, it's like, if it's a 21-year-old whiskey, like how much does it have to be? Like, what's an honest price for a 21-year-old whiskey? If Glendronach 21-year-old is 250 euros, then why can't Dunville's be 250 euros? But like if Redbreast 21-year-old is 300 euros, it doesn't mean we should be 300 euros. Just because the big guy is continuing to put their price up. They have a hell of a lot more export than we have. They can sell it a hell of a lot easier than we can. But it comes back to the same old, like, for us, since we launched this, we never put the price up. When we launched it 3 years ago, the price has never gone up. And the whole thing is that I just think it's a really honest, good drinking whiskey.
Don't let it worry about inflation.
Oh, yeah. Jesus, inflation. Yeah. That old one. I think every shipping container got stuck in the Suez Canal. Every bit of packaging we bought was on that container. Yeah. But I think that is one of these whiskies where, like, pretty much Ireland. Like, yeah, like we sell, like the US is the biggest market, but we ship, like out of every 2 years we have 6,000 bottles, and we ship probably 2,500 bottles to the US, and then 2,000 will stay in Ireland. But to say that the 2,000 in Ireland are depleted, they're sold every year or every 2 years, where the US they could sit there for a while. Yeah. What do you mean? Yeah, like they will be sold, but the distributor owns them. We got paid for them. That's the main thing. But yeah, like so our distribution partners in the US are Sazerac. So like Sazerac have brilliant distribution throughout the US. So everywhere you see Fireball or Buzzballs or Buffalo Trace or Eagle Rare or Pappy Van Winkle, we can sell Dunvilles into the same customer. Yeah. Like they're the biggest drinks company. They're the biggest manufacturer of spirits in America. So yeah, but again, selling 21-year-old whiskey is easy. It's selling the blended whiskies which is the problem, and you need the volume. You need the volume of sales of our cheaper whiskies to keep the lights on. So I mean, we have so many staff that selling 3,000 bottles of whiskey is a day's work to them. It's not a day's work to sell them, but it's a day's work as manufacturing.
How have the tariffs affected anything? The US tariff?
You can turn off your mic if you don't want to say.
The Brits haven't given us much, but this one they'll probably give us a bit of a benefit. So the tariffs obviously EU are 15%, we're 10%. But as I say, in Trump's last reign of misery, I mean, all Scotch malt was tariffed, and unfortunately we fell under that, and our single malts got pulled out of the US completely. So we kind of reacted against it, or we got in front of it and we shipped enough stock that will last us for the next 2 years. Yeah, which is not a luxury you can do if you're Well, it's a luxury you can do if you're a small producer. It's not a luxury you can do if you're a big company, because you have shareholders to answer to every 6 months. Why you haven't shipped X, Y, and Z? So yeah, that's why we have 2,500 bottles of this in the US to beat it. Yeah.
So would Sazerac then be shifted there, like, because they're your importers to the US, would they say let's put it to Canada instead, or would they help you find your additional markets? Or
No. So we, like, obviously, like, Canada works different as its agents. It's not so you sell to an agent, the agent sells to LCBO. So we sell directly to all these. Like, we don't want Sazerac doing it. We like individual markets to be their own market, and then No, we ship from Echlinville to Canada, ship from Echlinville to America, ship to Echlinville to Germany, Echlinville to wherever. Yeah.
Stephen, how many employees are Dunville employing?
Between just Echlinville.
Well, Echlinville, Dunville, it's the whole lot. So not just the distillery.
I'd say there's probably about 40 now. Between part-time and full-time, between the farm, so between malting, the farm, the barley, and then distilling, packaging, tour guides, coffee shop, groundsmen. Yeah.
And the malting house that you bought there, we were up there when you bought it a few years ago. How far is that clock down?
Yeah, so we've bought completely new malting equipment. So the malting equipment is going in. So the original place where. So the original malting house. So Shane, Ard's Malting, which was the original malting house for all of Old Cumber, they supplied to Birchmills and they supplied to Guinness as well. And the Ard's Malting House is on just when you come onto the peninsula. And Shane has always had this mad idea of reopening the malting. And we've done all the malting on the farm, and it's not sexy. It's not what you think a maltsters would be. And Shane's cousin Michael done all the malting from Echlinville Farm, which Shane owns. So they're all our own fields. We don't buy neighbours' fields or whatever. So Shane had this idea that we would buy a malting house, and a malting house that produced enough malt for Birchmills and Old Cumber in its heyday. So we've now purchased the bigger malting equipment to go into it. But like, there's a lot of work needs done to it.
Any intention to beat it, or is that?
Like, never say never, but it's not our thing. In terms of, we have no, like, and if you have to separate Old Cumber, Echlinville, and Dunville's aside, because like Dunville's, as much as we try and use Echlinville and Old Cumber in the blends, but like, there's nothing there that we read Tony says we have to 100% use Echlinville. We've always held our hands up, and Tony says like Dunville's is always source whiskey. We haven't hid behind it saying it's the Echlinville Distillery producing it. Like, we never did. Dunville's was the first brand we had before Echlinville come along. We've never thought about putting peat into Echlinville malt, or and it's, the whole thing is that when it's field to glass, when it's your own barley, it's more about focusing off the nuances of the barley and what that gives to the whiskey, rather than the peat. It's not like, it's just not something I don't think we'll, like, never say never, but like, it's not my plans for the next 5 years. As like sales plans, there's no, so it won't be, like, in 20 years time if we do it, I'd be surprised. Just put it that way. Yeah. There's no point in doing it half-arsed when there's so many. Like, if you look at Sleeve League, they do it really well. Like Ardra Distillery do it brilliantly. Like G&D's peat is really, really good. But if we'd done it, we wouldn't be doing it fun. Yeah, like, we wouldn't be committing to it. Like, we do one run a year, and that's it. Yeah. What do you think? Good. Yeah. If only.
I'm just going to arrive and get the next few afterwards as well.
If only every Thursday you were drinking those. Okay, guys, so the next whiskey we're going to go on to is PX 23-year-old. And this is kind of the newer release within our kind of older sherry casks. So we released the PX 23 this year. Again, we go back to 10 years in bourbon, 5 years in first fill bourbon, and 8 years in PX sherry casks. So 8 years in total. And someone had asked the question, what you do when they start dipping? And this is one, why we have this product, and two, if we have a cask that we're like, okay, this is amazing, and we separate our single casks. So we have green label single casks, we have a red label single cask, which we're going to try at the end, and then we have our dark series single cask, which is just for PX barrels. And our green labels we release 3 of them a year, 4 of them some years, but we always try and identify 5 single casks out of all of our inventory across the ages to release as the best single casks we have in the warehouse. And we do those with the likes of Palace Bar, James Fox's, but they're generally Celtic Whisky Shop. They're always from 13 years to 25 years. They're arranged between Oloroso Sherry, PX Sherry, and Palo Cortado. And then we have red labels, which are really good casks, but they're for a general market release. They're not for one bespoke customer. So if we release it for Austria, release it for Germany, release it for Ireland, or we do a whiskey club release, we will do it within the red label. And then the PX is just what we do, one distillery exclusive, or for whiskey festivals like Whiskey Live. And when we have casks that we're identifying that are going, maybe this is starting to dip, the guys in the distillery will be trying them quite regularly. We will then put them we'll bottle them straight away. So we'll pull the cask out, because you're not talking about 5-10 grand, you're talking about 50, 60, 70 grand once you sell the cask of 23, 24-year-old whiskey. And like they all... No, it includes the selling value. Okay. Yeah, so what you're getting for it off the customer. Not the cost. But it's opportunity lost versus gained, should you say. So what we would do is that we would then bottle them and then leave it in glass until we find the right customer. So very rarely now would we ever have whiskey that goes over the hill. And we were trying to find a single cask at 24 years old this year for Australia. And we were trying a lot of these PX casks, and they're all at 23 years at the time. And they're starting to become a little bit tired, and they're too long in PX, and there's not enough freshness in them. And this is where we have 6 months where these could really, really get bad. And you can't have bad 23-year-old whiskey. It's a disaster for a distillery of our size, or it's financial ruins in a way, for the amount of effort you put into it and cost. So we bottled out a 23-year-old PX, and this is where we are today. So 8 years in PX sherry casks. Yeah, the color is amazing. Yeah. Coca-Cola. It's like €280 maybe. 250 pounds. I think it's like 245 pounds. If you actually, if you still have some of your 10-year-old left, smell the 10-year-old versus the 23, and you can smell how fresh the 10-year-old is, even though it's 3 years in PX sherry casks, and you just smell the freshness of the 10-year-old versus this. And this is where like, promise guys, you've only 5 more minutes to listen to me. But if you smell the 10-year-old, the freshness of the 10-year-old, and like the older that it's in PX, it starts to become more like leathery, more kind of mustiness, more warehouse and what. And in Echlinville, where all these casks are, it's all dunnage warehousing. So they're all on their belly, they're all in muck, they're all in soil, they're not palletized. And like all of our older Dunville stock is all dunnage warehousing. They're not palletized. So like even for this, and Echlinville is an amazing place for long-term maturation in sherry, because if Belfast is -1, Echlinville's 2 or 3 degrees because it's on a peninsula. When it's 30 degrees, which is never 30 degrees, but if it's 25 degrees and 21 degrees in Belfast, it's probably 18 degrees on the peninsula. So it never gets really, really warm. It never gets really, really cold. And during the summer, like when the heat comes, we love it. It's like we leave up the shutter doors, let all the like. Oh yeah, but that's the thing. Like we have within our dunnage warehouse, it's where our main workstation is for the guys filling casks. So they'll fill casks, palletize them, and then move them to one of the other warehouses off site. And we leave the doors wide open. And Shane's walking around, you just seeing the pounds leaving his pocket. But like, it's amazing for the liquid. And even like when we bottled the 24-year-old, there was only like, it kind of should have been 230, 240 bottles, and we lost like 70 bottles. And like, there probably should have been 310, 305, 300, but there was like 270 in total. But the whiskey is sensational, and that's, people buy sensational, they don't buy bottles, numbers. Yeah. Yeah.
I tried the 2, like the zinginess compared to the 10 on the nose and the.
Someone in the distillery the other day said, do you know like the fizzy cola bottles? Like Ali was saying this zinginess. Do you know like when you get like when you were younger and you got like the cola fizzy or the sugary cubes? Yeah, cola cubes. And it's like, this is like that kind of, that fizziness, singiness that you get, and it's all over this. Yeah.
Do you want to do
If you want. What do you think? Any questions?
What's your favorite?
Like it depends on like what's my favorite Dunvilles. Like what price range?
150 euro.
We had like some of those early 12-year-olds were brilliant. There was one, was it 1797 or something like that? There was some of the really early COVID 12-year-old bottles that were just sold online in the distillery were sensational. Really, really good. I think the best whiskey we've ever produced, there's a Cask, a 1717. So it was originally this 20-year-old Oloroso, and then we put it into PX sherry casks for 2 years. We left it in the still house where it gets really, really warm. Yeah, didn't go down well, but yeah, the kind of faster, you can say faster maturation, the higher temperature, and it was just incredible. Like it was probably my favorite Dunvilles ever. But like 3 Crowns, every day drinking whiskey.
So favorite that's still available.
Yeah. I love 10-year-olds. Like like if I was in a bar, I'd drink 10-year-old. Yeah. What do you think, guys? Just like it? Just want to move on to the last one? Yeah.
Declan Rice, calm down.
Yeah, guys, so the next one we're going to go on to for the exceptional sherry series is an Armagnac cask. Yeah. So we, like with Dunvilles, I think sometimes you can get criticized for having good whiskey. And I promise, guys, this is the last one. I mean, if you can imagine how giddy they would be if there were cask tank whiskies that they were dying for. Yeah. I think sometimes when you can create really, really good sherry casks, we've done a tasting a while ago and it was all, you guys just do sherry casks. And we're like, are you drinking the whiskey or what? Like, you're complaining to us for creating great whiskey. But we just don't do sherry casks. We have, or just 3 sherry, shall we say. Like we have Manzanilla, we have Fino, we have Amontillado, we have Armagnac casks, we have cherry brandy casks, we have Bon Poaching casks, we have Mahary Moor casks, we have Sauternes casks, we try our best to innovate when we can without getting away from what the backbone of Dunvilles is, and like the backbone and going forward, Dunvilles will always be about sherry. It'll always be about great sherry casks and great whiskey going into the barrels and just enjoying these great casks with great people, and that's what it's all about. But we also like to play around, and we had this opportunity to buy Grand Moulet Armagnac casks, and these are like really, really good Armagnac house. Like they're 1990 Armagnac, which a really kind of medium to medium good Armagnac at 1990 or 25-year-old that cost you 100 quid. Like these are like 300-400 quid. And when we this guy who's friends with, I'll not say the guy's name, but the guy who's friends with the Armagnac house had said, like, listen, he was in Echlinville 3 or 4 times. He goes, my best mate owns this chateau or a distillery. I want to get some casks and I want to fill up a barrel of Echlinville spirit. And we're like, okay, like we'll definitely take really, really good Armagnac casks. So he goes, okay, I'll buy 4 Armagnac casks and you can fill one up for me for free and you can have the other 3 barrels. So this is why you should never let an accountant do a deal. So Jarlath thought it was a great deal to fill up 400 litres of Echlinville spirit for 3 barrels, which, if you ever doubt Jarlath, you're probably doubt him at your peril in a way. He very rarely gets anything wrong. And so we filled up to an Echlinville single pot still, an Echlinville malt. I think we filled up an 1808. And then we filled up 19-year-old Cooley malt. So it was 9 years in first fill bourbon, 10 years in the vatting. And we said, okay, well, let's see how this goes. And it's a big gamble when you're putting 19-year-old whiskey into a barrel that we've never used before because we don't know how it's going to react. Off the top of my head, I don't think I've ever tried a cognac or Armagnac finish where I've thought, this is incredible. Like Springbank, I've done a few over the years, and I've never in my life heard someone in a pub say, I remember that Armagnac cask finish. It was the whiskey. And we were like, okay, well, we'll try it. And after like the first 4 months in cask, I was looking at Jarlath laughing at him, thinking, this has gone to shit. And I'm all like, when can I tell Shane? So after like 14, 15 months, it had really turned. And this is where we are. So this was bottled in April 2024. So 18 months ago. And Jarlath was like, at the time, Jarlath was really trigger happy. He was like, yeah, it's really good. Let's get it out. Because he wanted all 600 bottles or whatever there's, the 400 litres out of the cask ASAP. So he risks his idea. I was like, well, I don't think it's ready. And Niall had just joined us and he goes like, yeah, this is amazing. It's brilliant, blah, blah, blah. I was, but like, it could get better because there's still that raw Armagnac alcohol in it. And if anyone's had the pleasure of trying Armagnac, it's very spirit driven. And you still get the spirit hotness and rawness within this. It's not ethanol, but it's there. The spirit is still within it. And well, this is going to mellow back. This is going to come back completely. So he, in great terms, we have a democracy in Echlinville. So myself and Niall overruled him, and it's now 23 years old. And I was saying to Ali, the whiskey just keeps on getting better. And our whole plan was that we would release 200 bottles at 21 years old, 200 bottles at 23 years old, and 200 bottles at 25-year-old. And we still have this on a pallet. We've never sold it. It's still in the distillery. It actually comes with the 1985 Armagnac, which was the original liquid that comes from the cask. So it comes with like a... We haven't released it yet. One, we haven't found the customer for it. Two...
I'll take a bottle. Yeah.
Yeah. To be honest, guys, when we bottled this, it was April 2024, and it's at the height of when the market started to come down. Like the market started to come down 6 months prior to that, but it was at the height when all the bad news stories came out about the industry. But it was also when interest rates for mortgages were at crippling highs, and we just didn't think releasing another whiskey at 300 quid is what the market needed.
So if it's bottled now, so you have bottled 200 and you've got 200 in casks?
So we have roughly 600 bottles in total. We've bottled 200 as a 21-year-old. We will bottle another 200 as a 23-year-old quite soon. And then as a 25-year-old, we'll bottle another 200. And there'll be a kind of trilogy of these releases of what it's going to be. We actually have one customer that's looking the other 400 bottles.
Is it the Irish whiskey?
Yeah. And we could, so we might sell the other 400 bottles to one customer, but I don't think we should. Like I think we should do the 200, 200, 200, and just because it'd be a great comparative. Yeah, like for us, it's and this is where you. Someone has the bottle. I think it's like 54.3. 54.3. Okay. Yeah. And we with this one it kind of highlights with the distillery that you have to keep on learning, and wood is not easy, and we don't have master of woods in the distillery, and we don't have these people have been working with wood for 40 years. So when we bring a new cask in, like it's learning on your feet, it's learning quick, and you will make mistakes. And with this one, it's kind of, it could be the next real cask that we focus on within Echlinville if we can get it right. And that's where the kind of 200, 200, 200, we're really, like when it gets to 25-year-old, or when it gets in 6 months' time, it could start to dip, and we mightn't get to 25-year-old. So yeah, that's where we are with this. I want to say it's a bit of fun, but it's a bit of fun money to experimenting on. But
if you decrease the volume, then it might age faster, age differently than
yeah, no, 100%. So every 200 bottles you take out, the maturation is so different. So yeah.
And learning the life cycle of a new one.
Yeah. Yeah, so we have maybe like, we have probably about 50 Barolo casks at the moment. Across all different types. So, like from 1808 to Echlinville single malt to we had like I think every decision in Echlinville has a story behind it. And we had this one crazy guy, and Willie Jack, who owns a friend at Han in Belfast, and he goes, I can't get anyone to buy me Barolo cask. Can you get me a Barolo cask? And I rang Shane and it was all like, Willie's breaking my balls here. Like I don't really have time to be dealing with him. Can you get a Barolo cask for Willie? And Shane goes, oh yeah, let me see. So like we need 2 Barolo casks and Shane buys 50. So so we have like Barolo and 1808 Barolo and 10-year-old Barolo. We probably bought them like 2 years ago. So like they would have been filled in the last 19 months. So yeah, I actually haven't tried them in forever. Like we tried them after 3 months and they weren't ready. Go ahead.
People get seduced by the name sometimes. It's difficult. Like wine finishes can work really, really well, but a lot of it will come down to the actual strategy employed by the winery. You know,
there's not like
the grapes don't give us much.
The Celtic Whiskey Shop has done the best wine finishes I've ever tried. Like Shea and Anima Negra, and I mean Tree was an Anima Negra as well, I think, and then Shock was an Anima Negra, and I mean are different type, but like but again they're buying second growth quality wines, barrels to put into it. But like Leoville Barton is really good. Chateau Mantalina is really good. But again, it's what you want.
Enjoy your pen trying to buy the bottle.
You capture that wide enough, you'll filter what works. You know?
If you fill enough of them, you like a big batch can. A 20,000 bottle batch can hide a lot of sins. Yeah.
So if you buy, let's say, 20 flowers, how much would you be able to tell the taste of the liquid if it's going to be a better cask? Like which one of them would you be able to guess? Or is it just purely?
Sorry, guys. Go ahead.
You get 20 casks of Barolo, or are you able to tell from getting the cask from whatever residual liquid's left in, which one is likely to be good, or is it just?
They do like it's next to impossible for them to come in wet. So when they come in, the guys will smell them in case there's an infection in them, in case they're like damp or mushroomy, and that's like then they get sold a redbreast. No, they get there's a garden centre beside us. We send them to the garden centre. But yeah, if they're infected or if they're damp or then we don't put anything in them. But like the guys are smelling them just to see are they okay, and then we fill them up, and then pray they don't leak or they're damaged, and yeah.
The rate of yield is less of a problem really.
Say it again.
The rate of yield is less of a problem here. It's the leakage, the quality of the cask.
Yeah, it's how long they've been sitting before you get them is the problem. Like how long they've dried out. Yeah. Like the thing is just to wet them on the outside to try and get them to expand as quick as you can, and then put the liquid in them. But yeah.
Stephen, just from online, you found in Arizona, you found in Auckland, and one question coming in, are you RHK? I'm assuming Royal Hospital Kilmainham on Saturday, and you part of that?
Yeah, we're there. So we're actually going to launch Old Cumber there. So we have the 46% Old Cumber as well, the core release. So like the one you tried is just 2,000 bottles. It's what we. Oh yeah, it's okay. Because Ali is the best president the Irish Whiskey Society's ever seen.
I will sort out that prize.
And Peter White never got Dunville's down to do his presentation.
President Dunville didn't exist.
Did? But I'm sure Bernard was here. But
I will ask you a question, Steve. Do you know what happens to the whiskey that was put in the 2 salt casks and the 2 American grade casks in Charlotte?
so the Mary Moore ones are really interesting because again, the Dunnett's warehousing is an amazing thing of how it benefits a whiskey. It's a horrible thing when you want to try and find the cask. And so the Mercury Moor casks are like they're like 2018, 2017. Because there's 3 crowns. So 3 crowns peated, or 3 crowns distillate went into them for 3 crowns peated. And they're now like a 12 or 13-year-old. So it was like, at the time it was like 5 or 6-year-old, 50% malt, 50% grain from Cooley went into it. So they're now like 12, 13 years old in Mercury Moor casks for 8 years or something. But they're like, if you've been in Echlinville, there's 3 rows of dunnage, and then you have all the kind of super sexy casks to the right hand side. But like the 3rd line of dunnage, it's away at the back. So like it would take like 2 weeks to get to them.
Do you know how they ended up there?
You brought them over.
Well, yeah,
It's a backhanded compliment, isn't it?
No, I didn't bring them over. I got Jared to bring them over, but we wanted to for Dick Max, and we put a Royal Oak whiskey. It's the only peated whiskey in Royal Oak. And we put a Powers Coat in it. It's the only Powers Coat. And the interesting story behind it is that the only reason we were allowed to put Powers Coat whiskey into it, when I brought the Cask up there, they said we don't take Cask anywhere else. But when I told them it actually came from Ireland, because one of the people who owns the Powers Coat whiskey is right.
Yeah.
And that was the only reason they let us do it. So Dick Max actually has an Ireland Blackmore Cask Powers Coat, and I was one in Royal Oak. And the one in Royal Oak will be 9 years old next year. Bernard Walsh tasted that about 20 years ago. And he said, if you leave that at 3 years old, it's amazing at 6 years old. Jared brought it to the same time.
They were close.
We have a question down there.
Go ahead.
I have 2 questions. So the first is, which duty-frees can I buy your product in, if any, and which bars in Dublin can I get it?
Most bars in Dublin, like we're in really good distribution on the on-trade. Duty frees, you can buy them all in Ireland and South Africa is the only one. So Johannesburg, we're in the duty free. Yeah, and all the Irish ones. But like we're in great distribution throughout Dublin in the bars. Yeah. That was just it.
Yeah.
You ready?
Okay. Well, what a way to wrap up the tastings for 2025. And I just want to say, on a personal note, and also from the IWS, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to work with you both on this tasting as well, and also on the bottling as well. And God love your patience for labels. So I just want to say thank you so much. Oh, it's gone. We got it. I knew that was going to happen if I didn't want to tilt it as well. But yeah, what a lineup. Thank you so much as well. And thanks to everyone who joined online as well.
It's filled with method madness 28-year-old.
Cheers. Thank you.